It's your open source advocate, and I'm back with another video. And today I want to talk a little bit about programming, about coding, about how AI affects that. As part of my job, at my regular full-time job, they've really focused on AI in the last year. They want us to learn to use these tools, and I realized either I ignore it and I become the guy who's not important enough to use AI and who they can spare, or I become the guy who's really involved and understands it and can put it to good use and can use it in a responsible way, and that makes me important. So I've been focusing on that, and I've been trying to use that in a lot of the things that I've been doing lately as far as programming, because as a product manager, while I don't do the development, I hand that off to developers who then do the development. It's a major part of my job to be able to say, here's what I need, or as this user type, here's what I need out of this software system, and define that very clearly so that the developer can take that and actually put that into practical use. And it's kind of the same thing when you're feeding it to an AI system. You have to be able to give it this really great context of what you're looking for and what you're trying to accomplish. And sometimes you have to understand that it's not understanding you, and you have to define it in a different way. And that's the same way as dealing with human beings, right? Like sometimes you're saying something and they're just not quite grasping it, so you have to rethink how you're saying it or stating it to help them understand better. And that's what I've been doing with AI. So I wanted to talk a little bit about how that's going and a lot of the projects I've been working on, things that I hope you guys might be excited about. If you're an open source advocate and you're somebody who says, I want to be able to run these things locally, and you don't get involved today with AI, you're going to be the person who is upset later when only the big corporations control all of the AI, and it's through the nose to pay for it and get it and access it. And you don't have any option to do this because they'll get it shut down, because open source, as always, is a threat to the big corporations making tons and tons of money. So first, OpenCode. It's an open source AI coding agent. I've been trying it out and using it, and I use it just straight through the command line. I use it mixed with VS Codium, and I'll show you one of our projects I'm working on here, so I'll bring it over. So you can see all of the output that it creates, and I'm just using some of their free stuff right now. So I'm using one called Big Pickle. It's asking, hey, permission, and look, it wants to go to Home, Brian, Development, Distro. I don't know why it needs that. So I like that it asks me this because I'm going to reject it. It's going to stop what it was doing. I'm going to say, why do you need to access this? Yeah, so it's realizing, oh yeah, that's there. I didn't actually need it, so there you go. So it's functioning and it's doing something. So this is for a little project I call Get Streaming. And I'll show it to you real quick just so you can see what I'm talking about. So I've made this thing called Get Streaming, and I'll show it to you here. It opens up and you can add different icons. So I've got my Jellyfin added here. And all this does is launch the Jellyfin desktop app. So if I do this, it's going to launch Jellyfin Desktop, and I've got it in TV mode, and I've got a little remote control here that I can use to move through these options just like I would, and that's it. And then if I need to do mouse mode, I think I can do mouse mode on this remote. Yes, so this is important because if you want to close the app, you have to be able to get up here to the X, and then you're good. So I just go back this way, and once I'm done with that, I can go and do like Apple W, and then just I need to click something else. I don't intend to click out of it normally, so there we go. So the nice thing about OpenCode is it is open source as far as the coding agent. Now, I don't think there's really anything yet as such as a open source LLM, but there are open weights LLMs that tell you like, here's how we got this, here's how we built this LLM. You can take it, you can modify it, you can do the things you want with it. I really like that. There's a lot of different ways to run local LLMs as well. So I do run some local ones using Llama-CPP. It's a really, really nice project if you haven't checked it out. So if you go to Llama-CPP, go to the GitHub, they've got releases. You just download the release that works for your hardware. So I'm just running on a mini PC. I did a review on this mini PC a couple of years ago. The Geekom, is that, yeah, I want to make sure I'm getting the right one, Geekom, yeah. It's got pretty decent hardware. It's got a Ryzen 7 or a Ryzen 9 in it with a little GPU in it. So I can use the ROCm or the Vulkan. So I grabbed the Vulkan version of Llama-CPP. And then it's got some command line commands that you run, and you go grab whatever agent you want, or not agent, LLM that you want to use with it. and try to run it. And I've gotten Gemma 4, the 27 billion parameter, to run pretty well. When we talk about OpenCode, you can get this in a few different ways. You install it on your system, and then you can connect to it through some plugins on Visual Studio, like our Visual Studio Code, like I showed there. Or in this case, I'm using Codium. And then you can access it through that. And then there's also just doing the straight up command line method. And I'll just do OpenCode like this, and it's going to start up the OpenCode system right here in the command line. And the first thing I can do is I can say what model do I want. So I've got Big Pickle listed. It's the OpenCode Zen model. It's a free model that they've had out there for people to test with for a while. And I could say, you know, gain or get your context. And it's going to go out and look at the different files in the actual structure. And it's going to say, okay, let me grab my context on this and see what's going on. And it's pretty quick. So context loaded, Get Healthy, a fitness tracking app. And it is. It's a great little app. Really simple. So the tools, again, that it has access to are amazing. Like you can do OCR with Gemini for sure. And it can read errors off of a screenshot. I've done that before. But sometimes even when I tell it, like you have errors, it'll be like, hey, I see that I have errors. And it'll try to fix it, and it'll say I fixed it, and it's the same thing on the screen. It's just not fixed. It's just one of those things where if there's not a human in the loop, it's not going to work the way they expect. So let's go back here. So this is my personal Forgejo, and I've talked to you guys about it before. It's really a great system. I really like this, but this is open to the world. You can get up here and you can actually go to this. It's just forge.routmehome.org. If you're from the European side, forge.routmehome.org. ROUTE is the spelling there. And I've got these different projects that I've been having it work on. So it just kind of moves the latest project at the top. So Get Streaming was the latest one. I am trying to rebuild Motion iOS with some newer hardware in mind. I've got a Pi 20W, and it was really never built for that. So I'm trying to work through that. It's been a lot of iteration, a lot of testing. It's just not gotten quite there yet, but it's getting close, so I keep iterating on it. And there is a limit to how many of these free tokens you can have, by the way, so I hit that limit pretty much every day. And then there's days where I just skip for a while and then I'll go back. But yeah, I mean, it's just, you know, it does hit it. So Get Puzzles. This is a game that I made for my wife that she does a puzzle game on her iPad, and, you know, constantly buying more puzzles and more puzzles. Like, you know, I could probably build this and you could make puzzles out of your photos. So we have, you know, tons of photos of our family, cats, just different places that we go. And, you know, she thought that'd be great. So I've been working through that one, and it's pretty nice. I like it. It works pretty well. It just still needs some fixes. So she helps me test, and she tries things and tells me what she finds that's wrong. So Get Healthy, I've talked about in a previous video. That's my health app where I wanted to just track some things and make it kind of easy for me. I found that for my wife and my daughter, it's not quite as straightforward, so I probably need to fix some of the workflows in it, but that's okay. They're my testers. That works out good. GlassWRT. So if you've used OpenWRT, my goal here was to say, make a system that was that single pane of glass, as Scotty over at Scottibyte loves to say, when he uses Unify. I've used Unify. It is amazing. It is great. I've got it set up for a couple of clients. But I wanted OpenWRT to have that same kind of functionality where I can make changes in groups, or I can make changes to devices remotely and just have it apply to the devices. Incus Commander is another one that I'm really, really excited about. So I use Incus for all my servers, and then Scotty got me into Incus. And I was using the Incus system from localhost. So I've got this set up where it'll actually let me do OAuth through my Authentic. And it logs me in. Now, it is giving me all this from some testing I've done. Sorry, but you're going to see this stuff. This is just the process. But it loads up, and it goes and sees my servers, and then it eventually gets all the data from the servers. So you can see 3 out of 4 here on this card. And then over here, I can see my CPU and my network for my different instances. Now, right now, I've only got 1 instance assigned to me. So I've really got 33 instances. You can see that here. So I've got this little dashboard. I'm still working on this because the sizing is a little bit wonky. But what I can do is I can go to my system dashboard, and this is where all my systems get listed. So my actual hosts, and this is the host data for what's going on my host, so I can see what their statuses are. I can see the same thing here. This is kind of a dual look at it, but they do have different purposes. I'll do a whole video on this as well. So I've got a lot of these different apps, and it's exciting to me that I'm able to build out these tools that I've been wanting for a long time and not been able to find the exact thing that I want. And I think that's where AI slips in a little bit, right? Is like it gives people that ability to say, well, I want kind of what you have, but not exactly. And I want it to do this, instead, but you didn't want to do this, or I didn't know how to tell you how to do this, or it's not on your roadmap for your open source project. So you can do a couple of things. Fork the project and build it like I did with Pixar and like I did with some of the others. Motion iOS, Pixar, I've forked those and I'm trying to make them something better. I made a little realtor app for a friend of ours that just needed a web page and I wanted to give him a little bit more control. VideoPress, this just compresses videos. I just really wanted to make something that would easily compress my big videos down to something a little bit smaller, because I just realized I didn't need them to be so huge, and it does a great job. It just uses FFmpeg, and I can set it up to run jobs in the middle of the night, and it runs those things, and it's got a little graphical user interface. So again, I can do a video on this. Treasure Trails is a game that's not finished yet, but again, I just wanted a game where we could have multiple people, and it's got kind of a command center. So if you've never seen this movie, but you want to, you should. It's called Midnight Madness, and it's a movie from like the late 70s, early 80s, and this guy creates this massive, basically Clue kind of, you've got to go out and do this scavenger hunt game, and whoever gets to the end wins, and it's these different teams, and it's just such a silly movie, but such a fun movie. But we did a thing like that when I was like a kid. This guy set this thing up called the Great Pumpkin Hunt, and we all had clues, and we had to go out in different directions and go all over the city and do a bunch of things and get the next clue to find where the pumpkin was at the end, and then get the pumpkin and be the first back, to the base. And it was great. So I thought, you know what, let me do this. Let me create one called Treasure Trails. So musically, I was just working on for my daughter because she's learning piano, and I was trying to get some stuff going. This was the start of Get Healthy, so Open Health is what it's called there. I don't remember Open Assets. I think I was just doing like an asset management, didn't want to keep going with it. And then I have a Meteor template that I've kept here, and then GetMy was my app that I made for shopping lists. So I've got a ton of stuff here that I've been doing for a long time, and you guys are welcome to get out here and check this out. Just understand, a lot of these are not ready. Some of these have releases where you can go get them, but there's going to be bugs. And some of these have releases that are pretty well done, and then some of these don't have releases at all. So you'd want to grab the code and check it out and try to build it or fork it if you want to. Do whatever you want. Just understand, it's out here, it's open source. All this stuff is 100% there for you guys to get. I don't do closed source software. It's not my goal. I just want to talk about what AI has done for me. The benefits that I see from AI, I think, are just absolutely amazing. I understand the controversy around it, but I do think long term it's going to have some really impressive capabilities, because it's taking something that used to be out of reach for a lot of people, and it's giving that ability to them to go do things that they couldn't do before. And when I think about my smart home, for years, for a decade or more, I've been building out Home Assistant in a smart home. And I think Home Assistant's amazing, but going in and creating those automations and doing that stuff, especially years ago where you had to do YAML and things like that, the average person couldn't do that. That's why these bigger systems win, because they're simple. They've got a simple app. HomeKit, the Alexa system from Amazon, or Google Home, any of those things, because they have a nice simple UI, they win out. And little by little, Home Assistant has been building out a nice UI, but I would still not call it simple. I would say you really kind of have to know what you're doing to get around in there. It's not made for the average person. But if you say, hey, I've got this AI system, I can even feed it my voice and talk to it instead of typing the commands, and it can go build out what I want in Home Assistant and make it work. That's amazing. And it can be done. There's a Paul Hibbert video all about it. If you haven't seen his channel, he's funny, he's awesome, he does some really cool stuff. I will try to remember to link that one in the description as well. Just so much cool stuff that you can do with this. Now, the local side is the side that I'm really waiting for and really looking for. I want my system to be able to run locally. I want my stuff to be able to run well, but it does need to be faster. It's not easy. And if you didn't get a hold of a massive badass GPU before this whole thing kicked off, you probably can't afford one today. It's insanely expensive. If you need RAM, too bad. Like, it's nuts how much that costs. If you need hard drives, too bad. It's nuts how much that costs. I mean, it's like a 10x cost increase on all of that stuff. It is very hard today to build out a system. So that's why I'm going to be doing some hardware reviews that'll hopefully help you figure out a better way to use the hardware you might already have. That's my goal anyways. Now, the hardware that I've got in some cases is like, hey, here's something that could replace something else that you were trying to do. Here's hardware that can supplement things that you already have. That's my goal. I don't do a lot of hardware reviews, so when I do them, it's got to be for something I really like and I really think would be helpful, and these happen to be that, so watch for those videos as well. I'm super excited about this stuff, and I wanted you guys to know, like, I've been trying to get caught up because I did ignore AI for like 2 years after it kind of got announced because I thought, maybe it's a flash in the pan. I don't think it is. I think it's here to stay. I don't know if it's going to be as big of a deal as it is right now, but I do think as we go further and local AI gets easier and more available, that's going to be a game changer for sure. I don't think it's there yet, but I think it's getting there. All right, I'm going to stop lecturing. I just wanted to show you some really cool stuff. All these projects, if you're interested in these projects, one, get out here and check them out. I've got some really good readmes for 90% of them. I've got documentation for a bunch of them, so you can definitely do that. But if you'd like to see a video, let me know. Go down into the comments and just say, I want to see a video on, and just list out any of these projects. So I'll put them here where you can see them on the screen. I'll also list them in the video just so you can see them, and I'll put links to them so you can get to them. Just so excited about this. Again, I'll have links for all this stuff. I'll have links just to the general page as well. And yeah, I'm excited to get back to working on these things and get back to making videos. I've been out of the video game for a little bit just because a lot of other stuff in life has been happening. You guys all know how it is to get busy, but I'm ready to get back into videos and continue. So hope you enjoyed this. If you did, like, subscribe, tell your friends about it so they can come along the open source journey with us, and I'll talk to you next time.